This is the 100X podcast, and today we've got a guest from the other side of the world, basically the exact opposite time zone in Australia. We've got Jan from PerionXP. If you have been following 100X for a long time, you might have seen us talk about Perion in the past. We've got, I think, maybe some videos out there somewhere where I was talking about why I invested in Perion. You've seen people in our circle pay attention to these guys. They're cooking up some really cool stuff. And recently, you guys just went through a bit of a pivot, partial rebrand, things like that. So I'm excited to talk about what you guys are doing, what you're cooking, what's going on down in Australia with PerionXP. Jan, thank you for coming. Why don't you explain to everyone listening who's never heard of you what the heck you guys are building, and we'll get into it.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me. Good to be here. PerionXP. What we're building is a AAA questing layer. That's essentially really what it is. We launched the first version of it in August last year. And essentially really what the AAA is all about is about AAA games. So we had actually started integrating Fortnite, Valorant, and a couple of other AAA games last year. And basically what we built is a competition layer, like a meta game on top of those Web 2 games to bring a Web 2 audience on the platform to then ultimately introduce them to Web 3 rewards. We started a little pilot last year in August with actually like just physical prizes. So the main prizes of the seasons were PlayStations then.
Nice.
And we got some incredibly good feedback. People are already playing those games anyway. They're really, spending a lot of hours. Like we have an average, sort of questing time of 7 hours a week. And essentially we're saying, you already play those games anyway. Just come and you might be able to earn some rewards on top. And so we got about 30,000 users on board in the last quarter of 2024. And we said, okay, now it's time to take this to the next level with an even more exciting product. And of course, we exist because we believe any game will have a blockchain component in the future. We want to help that. We want to solve that onboarding problem. And I guess, that's really what PerionXP is. It's a AAA questing layer for gamers to earn crypto rewards on top of their gaming. And I guess initially AAA games, and then ultimately down the road, of course, Web3 games as well.
Before we dig into everything this episode has to offer, we want to highlight the awesome partners who sponsor this podcast and make it possible for us to work full-time on 100X. They're legends, and we appreciate them for supporting us. What if I told you that Magic the Gathering's founder, Richard Garfield, and veteran game designer, Justin Gary, teamed up to create a TCG where every deck can be an NFT? I'd say crypto gaming is going to make it. That game is here, and it's called SoulForge Fusion, and I am addicted with over 50 hours logged so far. You collect half decks and fuse them together to create one-of-one decks and battle your friends, play solo campaigns, and craft the lore of the endgame universe. It's free to play on Steam right now, and there's a huge airdrop that you might already be eligible for. Check the links below to get started. Let me tell you about our friends at Games.gg. And when I say friends, I really do mean that they are friends of 100X. Their CEO, Omar, was one of my first introductions to Web3 gaming, and we're OG holders of their Gamers Lobby collection. We love these guys. They're essentially the super app of Web3 gaming. One of the cool things they've cooked up is a gaming quest system. You complete free quests for cool games, anything from retweeting a post to beating a mission in a new game, and then you get rewards, tokens, skins, whitelist access, all kinds of things. Go explore everything awesome they've crafted just for you at games.gg right now. Nice. I love it. Man, I want to get into the weeds and some of the specifics with that. But I think before we do, I would say a portion of our audience has probably heard of you guys. A portion of them are probably holding PERC like I am. Can you give some background as to why the pivot, the rebrand was the questing always a part of the vision? From when I don't know when I first heard about you guys, almost a year ago. And for me, I think the pitch that I formed in my own head, I don't think anyone from your team ever said this to me, so I won't put it on you guys if I was wrong. But I think the pitch that I registered myself was, hey, if I want like general crypto gaming, Web3 gaming exposure, and I don't have the time to go like dig through the weeds and figure out what's cool and what's not, your treasury is holding a bunch of cool stuff from that space, so I can just hold the PERC token and I get general exposure. That's what I saw. Now there's a whole new world happening with the XP stuff. What happened there? What's the pivot? What's the expansion? Get into all the details there.
Yeah, good point. So you're right. We have taken quite a few investments. So Perion is a DAO. And the DAO has taken quite a few investments, about 12 in total, in quite a few different Web3 games. So some of the, I guess, quite famous titles that we've invested in are Off the Grid, Shrapnel, or Heroes of Mavia, for example. And the treasury holds those investments. And ultimately, I guess, PERC reflects the treasury. And so that is, you're absolutely right in your assumption there. But then I guess, we sort of said, we want to do a little more, right? Like there's a bigger problem to solve here. We can do more than just, I guess, invest.
Right.
And so that's really when we started to, and also like, I guess, more in terms of general, I guess, onboarding people into Web3, but also in terms of PERC in itself. And so that's when we started with a more product focused view. That's actually, sort of more the experience of our team. We all have experience in taking, scaling products from 0 to 100 essentially. And we said, okay, why don't we do this in this space here as well? And that's sort of the moment that XP on our PerionXP was really born. And so yeah, that's basically, so it's an added bonus, so to speak.
So it's an addition that maybe, so that treasury still exists, the DAO still exists, that piece
Absolutely.
is still happening. Are you guys like actively, is the treasury actively buying new things, or is it just holding what you guys had bought and then focusing all your energy on XP now?
Yeah, so currently we're not doing any further investments. We are, very happy with sort of the portfolio that was built. And I guess now we're sort of, focused quite heavily on the product execution.
Epic. Awesome, man. Well, let's get into that then. This is what I'm excited to learn about. I know about that stuff. I wanted to give background for anyone that didn't see the addition that just happens. Now that you guys have added this on, you said specifically, I know that you guys have like tested out this questing with Fortnite over the last 6 months or so. And I think the number that one of your team members threw out to me was you guys have onboarded, whatever that looks like, onboarded 30,000 people to Web3. That's pretty freaking awesome. Talk to me about like what that onboarding process looks like. Maybe has looked like or will look like. I know you guys are doing some like, that was like the test phase. So now you're getting into the like, hey, we proved the test. So tell me what that's going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. So initially we're starting with Fortnite, and then we're rolling out more games. So let's pick Fortnite as an example. You're already playing Fortnite anyway. You can now come to PerionXP. You simply sign up and then you connect your Epic account to PerionXP. And then what actually happens is we're receiving the game data, the live gameplay data. And then you can imagine it as a meta game on top. So let's pick an example. You at the beginning, it's actually very cool. So at the beginning, you can pick out of 3 missions what you got to do. So let's pick an easy one. Let's say you got to do 10 kills in the next 3 hours. And so you enter that mission. You then go play Fortnite. You then come back and see, okay, you get your kills in, and then you hit the mission. You're then moving up on the leaderboard, and I guess moving up the ranks. And ultimately, you then also a user on our platform, of course. But I guess, we're sort of seeing really that onboarding moment when a Web2 publisher account is connected with our platform, and then that user plays the game while also using XP.
And so I want to talk a little bit about like the onboarding process that you just mentioned. For a gamer, how do they come to learn about PerionXP? Where are they seeing your onboarding platform? Where are they learning about these quests? And then once they do the quest, how do they get integrated into the ecosystem that will lead them to the path to a Web3 game? Because I think it's one thing to play Fortnite and then be like, oh, look, I could do all these extra quests for XP and possible rewards. We have a lot of those questing platforms and other things where they can earn gift cards and things like that. But how do they learn about Perion, and how do they get implemented into the Web3 ecosystem after that?
Yeah, absolutely. So good question. We've got quite a few partnerships in the pipeline that are coming out over the next couple of days with different gaming communities. We're actually migrating to Base this week as well, which we're very excited about. We're running some ads, we're in podcasts like this one. So we're really sort of kicking off to spread the word now across both Web 2 and Web 3 gaming communities. Then, of course, we already have the users that we got on board through the pilot last year, the 30,000. There's, I guess, like a referral mechanism in place as well for them to bring more people on. So that's sort of to the first part of your question. Then the second part was, I guess, how they ultimately get introduced to Web3 games. And I guess, we're really trying to innovate questing here and turn it on its head, because right now there are a few questing platforms, yes, but they are generally relatively, let's call it relatively kind of boring. You come in and you do a task, you follow this person, follow that person, sign up here, sign up there, but it's not very engaging. And so I guess we said, gaming is the obvious place to start here, and we like Cutthroat Chaos, which is I guess the name of the game that we're launching on February 20, is actually a really fun game in and in itself. So we're going to be sharing a little more about that very soon. But that's where we see AAA. That's why we landed on the AAA questing layer, because it's a game in itself that's really fun to play, and that is just super addictive and captivating. And so ultimately, Fortnite is the first starting point. But then, of course, once we have onboarded more users to the platform, we then want to, we want to cycle through the games on the platform, bring in more games into it, essentially. And so, of course, Web3 games are on top of the list there.
Okay, awesome. So I'm learning about, if I'm a player, I'm learning about PerionXP from either ads or partnerships that you guys have with different people in the space. And then once I learn about it, if I play Fortnite, I can come in, do some quests on you guys' platform. Is Fortnite the only game currently available, or are there other Web2 games that I can go ahead and try out if Fortnite isn't my thing?
So initially, it's Fortnite, just for the sort of starting launch phase. But then we're going to be expanding very quickly.
And then if I'm a Fortnite player and I'm playing these quests, how do I go from just like a Web2 user into a Web3 user? Like where is the value coming in for the player that's trying out these quests to want to try and explore more? And then where's the value from you guys' PerionXP side to try to acquire Web2 gamers who may not be as Web3 savvy as some of the Web3 gamers are? Where's the value from Perion in bringing those Web2 users?
Yeah. So first question, I guess, let me answer that. So when you sign up as a user to PerionXP, you actually have your first Web3 wallet created. So it's an embedded account abstracted wallet, super simple user experience. You don't even know that you're onboarding into Web3. And we think that's really how it should be like. But then the touch points with Web3 are, so firstly, the leaderboard within Cutthroat Chaos, the ultimate season prize there's a PERC prize pool, essentially. So you're actually earning Web3 rewards if you are climbing up the leaderboard. There are also elements where PERC is used as a in-game currency. So there will be, I guess, we call them emeralds within the platform that help you to give you certain benefits to move around in the leaderboard. And certain other benefits within Cutthroat Chaos. The only way to buy those emeralds is with PERC. So I guess we're sort of bringing in PERC as a, let's call it the gaming like sort of currency, in-game currency of the platform, essentially. So that's sort of the Web3 sort of element within PerionXP. And then for us, I guess having the benefit of having those Web2 gamers on board, we think that any game will have a blockchain component in the future, and we know, because we're very close to a lot of them because we invested in them, that there are a lot of high quality Web3 games in the pipeline. And we will then have so we're targeting to onboard 1 million Fortnite players. And so by the middle of this year, this is our growth plan. Nice. And we'll then have those players that we can then introduce to high quality Web3 games. And so I guess that's sort of, where we see, because I guess at the end of the day,
and there's basically nowhere near that number. I think people throw it out like there's 10 million wallets in this cool game in crypto. Dude, there's not a million people playing these games every day. Like genuinely, there's not. We need those million players.
Exactly. There's like, so just Fortnite has about just over 30 million daily active, which is, and we're talking daily active. Our goal here is for the first half of this year. So we think it's very achievable. And that's, I guess, what we set out to do. and then ultimately use that audience to introduce that audience to high quality Web3 titles.
Cool.
And I guess, there has been sort of a little bit of, I guess the titles that we've seen in the past are necessarily not the same quality. And I guess that's why there's like sometimes has been or is still that little slightly negative stigma around Web3 games across Web2 gamers, although I think like, we're definitely on the right track here. But we want to introduce them to the right games. And we thought the balance between, AAA game Web2 gamers, but introducing them to crypto rewards, that sort of caters to a really large part of the audience as well, which are actually Web2 gamers that aren't yet playing Web3 games, but they're interested in crypto investing. They're kind of, degens. And so there's some like really interesting stats, like, where even like, 30% of every US adult now owns, 30% of all US adults own crypto. And so there's a big overlap. And I guess that's what we're trying to solve for.
Cool. I love it, man. I got a lot of questions. I think this is really cool. Specifically on the, you're talking about onboarding these new people that have never experienced crypto before. I see the value proposition for that. Like, the space needs people that are interested in playing games for the sake of playing games. We don't have a ton of them. I think there's a lot of us that, and I say us, maybe this isn't even me. There's a lot of people in crypto gaming that don't really play games outside of the money component. And if you can get people that are regularly just playing Fortnite, well, those people, even if it's for a questing platform, they're a lot more likely to be interested in playing games just because they're fun. And so I see the win there. What about the mechanic of you're adding someone into the crypto ecosystem that has never existed in crypto before? They might not understand the value prop of crypto. They're going to interact with blockchain because, like you say, hey, we see a future where every game has blockchain integrated in some capacity. So they're going to interact with it at some point, but maybe they're not passionate about it like I am, right? Like, I sit here all day long, 40 plus hours a week talking about crypto and video games. That's crazy. Most people are not that passionate. I don't know. I would wager that the average person that is doing these questing platforms is going to earn something and then they're going to sell that something because they just don't even see the value of it yet. How do you get from the point of, hey, you're doing these quests, you're earning, are they earning PERC? Is that what they're earning? So that you're earning PERC. Now here's why that's valuable for you to not immediately sell. Like, what is that process that you're teaching them? Hey, don't just sell everything immediately. You should actually care about this space.
Yes, so absolutely. There are a few components within the platform that will incentivize the players to hold PERC. So I guess, we've all been in crypto for a while, so it's like sort of that staking.
Yeah.
I guess.
Are you calling it staking, or is it going to be something else?
TBD. So this is not going to be in the initial version, so it will follow very shortly after. But I guess, we're basically incentivizing holding for players to get additional benefits within the game or within the platform.
Cool.
So we're sort of, taking the incentivization elements that have been in crypto that we know from DeFi into this world to, I guess, introduce that audience to it.
Yeah, I have a question here, and this is based on some of the stuff that I've seen on you guys' Twitter page. When you compare yourself to other questing platforms like Galaxy, like Layer 3, it's obvious that you have a different goal in mind. You want to hit certain metrics and show that, like, hey, maybe this is where our token's at right now, but look at the FTV of these other tokens, and that's sort of like you hinting at the room to grow for PERC in comparison to other players in this space. What do you think makes you guys different or unique from not only those two, but other questing platforms? Because I think, especially over the last year, questing platforms have become one in a bunch. And I think every single chain has their own specific questing platform trying to solve similar issues. And I think we are going to come to a point where, gamers, both Web3 and Web2, are going to find a few, maybe specifically on their own different chains or different ecosystems, and then stick with those. What do you think is going to get people who maybe are already using those other two or another one in another chain to come try PERC and stick with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the answer is really build a fun and engaging platform/game. Like, you can almost call, Cutthroat Chaos is its own game, essentially, that even if there weren't any rewards, is already incredibly fun to play. And so I would totally see where there isn't even rewards and players just come in itself, because it's actually really fun to play. you get that additional dopamine hit on top of the games that you're already playing anyway. And you have a leaderboard component to it as well, where ultimately you can compare yourself to others and so on and so forth. So I guess the answer, Caesar, to your question would be like, we're actually trying to make questing fun. We're trying to turn this all on its head and make it so that it's not about like just a trivial task. It's about actually having fun, engaging, having that companion app. So this is something that we've seen in that initial pilot last year, that everyone basically was using XP as a companion. So it's sort of, you play Fortnite, you have XP open on the side, and like you're checking your progress, you're checking, like you're waiting for your mission to hit, that challenge to be completed that you have entered in XP. And I think that's sort of really the difference, as opposed to just clicking tasks for like a simple sort of reward.
Yeah, I have a question on this, but before I do, I think I want to say one thing, and that's, I was just thinking through your last answer. I had a conversation one time with the awesome Ryan from Bankless, the Ethereum. Well, yeah. They're not an Ethereum podcast, but the podcast that talks about a lot of things with Ethereum. I think they're great. And he told me one time when we were just getting started with the podcast, I asked for his advice, and he was like, dude, the only way you're going to get new people to care about crypto is to get them holding it. Like, you can talk about it all the time, you can interact with things, you can theorize, but until they own something, until they're holding on to something, they're not going to give a rip. And I really like that your guys's pitch is essentially like, we'll get you owning it. If you're someone that's just playing video games, we're going to get you to do something that results in you owning crypto. And that is how we're getting you to care about it. To me, I'll be honest, man, I came into this episode not really sure what to think, because like I said, I'm one of the guys who bought PERC like forever ago, when your entire public vision was something different. And I've been wondering, like, hey, am I going to like the new vision? Am I going to like where you guys are pivoting to? I really like this concept of, you get new users to care about crypto by getting them to earn crypto. That's dope. And so on that, I think your point to Caesar just now about, hey, the questing platform, like goal one, maybe behind the scenes, is to get them to earn crypto, but you're not questing just to earn it. Cutthroat Chaos is a game in and of itself. And to me, that reminds me a lot of what we're seeing of some of these like meta games. We're seeing it with people playing games on Twitter where they're just trying to get their social metric up because they're getting rewards in that, and it turns things they're already doing into a game. It sounds like that's what you guys are doing. When you call Cutthroat Chaos a game specifically, like, what does that look like? Is it just slightly gamified, or is it an actual game? Like, what does that look like?
Look, I mean, I think it's an actual game. And again, like as I said earlier, I wish I could already show you guys a little bit more how it looks like. But we're getting very close. 2 weeks until launch. But yeah, like it's once you see it, you'll say it's an actual game. And 100%, this is exactly what we're trying to do here. Actually build something engaging with something that people love already doing in their day-to-day anyway, that they are passionate about, and then introduce them that way to the world of crypto in a way that has a simple onboarding flow, an easy user experience. And so, no one has to write down a 24-word seed a recovery phrase when they sign up and be like, what the hell is that?
Dude,
so
cool. I like that. I just, I don't know if you've heard of, this might be totally random out there, man. Before I really got into crypto, there was this thing that I saw that went live. It was called Pi. It was like, now it's called Pi Network, but then it was just like the Pi app, and you were mining crypto. It was like, I don't know, man, like 5 years ago or something that I started doing it. And then I deleted it from my phone. And then recently I saw that they're actually, like, this month, at the end of the month, they're finally going live. And I went and looked and was like, cool, dude, that's like, if they actually launch what they say it is, it's like 10 grand. That's crazy. And then I went and looked at some of my friends who were doing that with me years ago, before I was into crypto. None of these guys are in crypto. And the first guy that I messaged and texted about it, he's like, oh yeah, dude, I saw it. I'm stoked. I locked it all up. And I was like, you what? Why would you do that, dude? Like, you just committed to a 6-month lockup? But the reason I say that, not to make fun of him, who he doesn't understand crypto, and that there will probably be an airdrop dump, but it's because they got him to earn something and to hold something, and that alone was enough for him to like buy the vision of something long term. And I think that comes back to that if you guys can just get new users to really get excited about the thing that they're holding on to. And your method for that is, hey, you're gonna play this awesome game, Cutthroat Chaos. You're gonna have a lot of fun. And because of that, you're gonna want to hold on to this thing. You're gonna want to lock it up theoretically. I don't know how you guys are gonna do that, but I think I know that's a little bit disconnected, but it's a real world example of something I just saw from a non-crypto user like 2 days ago. I think I had that conversation. And so I think there's a real possibility of that working. Do you think that another thought on this, thinking out loud here, I know that like in 2021, 2020, even dipping into 22, like play to earn was a much heavier narrative and a much heavier meta than it is now. That's kind of fallen out of grace and it's become play to airdrop. Do you think that quest to earn as a method for like people that specifically see the gaming space and crypto as a way to earn some extra cash, do you see quest to earn replacing play to earn effectively? Do you think this is just going to be an additional thing that people are doing for fun with games they're already playing, or do you think that you could actually tap into that whole narrative and replace that?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we've sort of had a little bit of a internal debate on that, but we really just landed on the AAA questing layer as such, because we think like, there should actually be that fun. There has to be that sort of fun component more than just the grind for the sake of it, but actually having the fun component, and then you get a nice benefit on top, which is the earning piece. So I guess, if we're sort of looking at the categories on, the CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, it's called Quest to Earn, and this is where we're aiming to land in that category. But I think like the level, the quality has just to increase both. And I guess that's really like what we've seen with like the play to earn world at the time, especially Axie, of course. It wasn't necessarily AAA, but it was a first mover, and it's really like, it was actually for me really the aha moment to see, wow, you can now trade in-game items on secondary markets. You can now trade in-game currency on secondary markets, and it's almost like it's its own economy with its own, at the time, like market for goods and services, labor market. Like it was very, very interesting. I thought as a first mover, but of course, we really need like the quality to be on par with what we know from Web2 games. I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. A question on that for a little more like specific. I think from my perspective, I'm thinking about who's going to listen to this episode, who's going to be excited about you guys going live real quickly here. And I think at least in our circles, there's two groups of people. Group one is people that maybe just want to buy PERC because they see a value prop there. I think that we've probably answered that question pretty well of why someone would buy. I've sold none of mine, still holding all of it. And then I think the second group is people that will grind those leaderboards. And so I want to ask just one more question on that, specifically about what that practically looks like. So when we talk about the AAA questing layer, when we talk about earning via questing, when we talk about playing these games, we can use Fortnite as an example because that's the one that we know is live. You don't need to leak which games are coming next. But okay, so I log in, it's live, I'm in Cutthroat Chaos, I'm playing the game. There's a challenge for me to do with Fortnite. The earning aspect when it comes to PERC, does that come per challenge, or does that come at the end of the season with leaderboards? How does that work practically, like time in from me as a grinder versus when I actually earn? What does that look like? As much as you can say. I don't know how much is secret.
You land on the platform, you enter a mission. You can then so you get 3 missions assigned. You can reshuffle missions if you want to. That's where also the in-game payments come in. So there will be a little PERC payment required to reshuffle the missions. But yeah, you enter the mission, then you go play a game. You then complete the challenge, and then you earn leaderboard points, which then help you to move up on the leaderboard. So the prizes are seasonal. Initially, the seasons are a week. So I guess pretty quick.
Quick season,
quick seasons, especially during that launch phase. After that, they'll be monthly. And essentially, like then it's from the first place down to like a further down. So it's not just the first place, but then it will be distributed essentially. Will be the PERC reward coming in.
Sweet. Yeah, makes sense. And I'm glad it's not a like grind for 6 months airdrop and then hope you're in the top. Those ones are crazy, man. Weekly sounds doable. And then especially as it grows monthly. Yeah, makes sense.
The other question I had here, and this goes back to a little bit about the ecosystem that I told you about, how each individual chain or ecosystem has their own questing platform. I saw that you guys chose Base to be the next stepping stone in where you guys build. Why Base? I think that's a very interesting choice.
Yeah, absolutely. So Base is really where a lot of users are, where there's a lot of liquidity. Of course, there's one above, which is Solana. But I guess we've sort of we've decided to go with Base because of, firstly, users. We want to be where already like sort of on-chain users are. On-chain liquidity available in sort of stable coins to make it really easy. We are also quite bullish on Base in general, and particularly now with the changing macro environment in the US as well. And like, yeah, that was really sort of the initial thoughts. And also there's a lot of room to grow in gaming on Base. So like Base is sort of the consumer chain, I guess, and like gaming is the biggest discretionary consumer spending market. And so we see like a lot of opportunity for us to come in there to make a mark. And so we're actually focused on becoming a top 3 game on Base in the first half of this year on Deb Radar as a reference. And so, it's sort of a mixture of these things, essentially.
Do you guys, I was going to say on this Base question, do you guys, how do I put it? Base is fantastic at a couple of things. One of those things is supporting the teams that they work with directly. I mean, I don't know, and I'll just put it out there. I don't know any other head founder of a chain that retweets all of my episodes about stuff on Base or on their chain. And Jesse does. So like,
awesome.
They just support their people a lot. I think Base has done really well with consumer apps on that. I know there was like drama about one of them recently that didn't happen. But besides that, I think that's kind of what they've been known for ever since I first was introduced to Base. Are you guys working directly with them on that at all? Like, do they know you're launching there? Are you getting marketing support from Base? Or is it like, hey, we're going there and hoping that we will?
No, we're connected to the team. So we're going to be focusing on joint marketing efforts. I can only echo what you're saying and working with the guys there so far, that it's been, very supportive. And I guess, maybe an additional answer to your question, Cesar, is actually to add to that. The community, it's an amazing community. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of other builders. And so, very, very happy so far, and excited for the migration this week.
Nice.
Sweet. Epic.
And one additional question there on Base. Does this going to limit you guys to working with games just building on Base, or are you guys going to just use Base as your home, but I'll work with Web3 games in all chains?
We're going to be working with Web3 games on all chains. So we think like from the player's perspective, they don't really care which chain it's on. It just has to be easy. Yeah. And I guess, that's really the focus. PERC will be on Base. That's all. But then again, it's an account abstracted wallet. So it's actually like truly cross-chain in and itself. So that would make it very easy from the user experience. And we don't want to make any, like limitations there to which chain the games are built on.
Nice.
Cool.
I like that.
Epic. Yeah. Well, I mean, your treasury holds at least 2 games on AVAX, so you got to work with everybody.
Yes.
On that, I'm excited to see this launch. I know you're launching real soon. If people are wanting to go play Cutthroat Chaos, they're wanting to get in, they're wanting to figure it out, they're wanting to make sure they're right there when everything launches, where should they be?
Yes. So I guess first one, follow us on Twitter. Perion DAO is the handle. And then Cutthroat Chaos will be on PerionXP.gg.
Nice. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much, Shan. Dude, I'm excited to play this. I'm excited to get into it, see what you guys are launching. This sounds dope.
Can't wait for the feedback.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you guys next time on 100X.